Good evening, today is June 16th, and today I'll continue to be talking about the coronavirus. So the first piece of news that I'd like to talk about is that scientists in the University of Oxford say they have identified the first drug shown to reduce coronavirus-related deaths. The steroid dexamethasone, a decades-old anti-inflammatory drug, appears to help patients with dire cases of COVID-19. Experts believe the drug is effective in calming the overactive immune response known as a cytokine storm, in which cytokines, cells of the immune system, will attack healthy cells in the body, mistaking them for infected cells. For patients on ventilators, it reduces death rate by a third, the scientists said. For those on oxygen, death rates dropped by a fifth. However, this drug showed no benefit for patients who did not need respiratory support. An added benefit of the drug is that it's very cheap, around $8 per treatment, according to one of the leaders of the trial. It's also widely available and already sitting on pharmacy shelves around the world, so maybe if you tested positive for the coronavirus, but you are unable to go to a hospital, you could perhaps try to take this drug as a treatment as well. So I think this is really important news in that here we can finally we're finally getting to the point in which we're finding more treatments and perhaps more vaccines are going to trials, so that as we reopen, we can be much safer than if we did not have these treatments and vaccines. After all, reopening without vaccines or treatments is very dangerous, as there could be a second wave of infections, which I think the United States and maybe China is experiencing as well, in which cases are ticking upwards or appearing when we start to reopen. But this is unavoidable. However, if we have treatments and vaccines, we can really dramatically help the situation. This is also not the only drug that has been shown to prove effective, and there are other drugs as well. So I think this is really helpful in that, well, one more treatment is better than having none. Some scientists or doctors are urging caution, however, noting that in the rush to find treatments, some high-profile findings have later been retracted and walked back. But even so, I think if there is success in the data of a trial, this is still very important and good news for all. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is that a new study published in the Physics of Fluid found that flushing toilet releases a plume of aerosols that can linger long enough to be inhaled by the next person. Scientists have found that in addition to clearing out whatever business you've left behind, flushing a toilet can generate a cloud of aerosol droplets that rises nearly 3 feet, and those droplets may linger in the air long enough to be inhaled by shared toilets next to each other or land on surfaces in the bathroom. In simulations, it can carry infectious coronavirus particles that are already present in the surrounding air recently shed in a person's stool. This research adds to the growing evidence that the coronavirus can be passed not only through respiratory droplets, but also through virus-laden feces too. So, I think while it remains unknown whether public or shared toilets are a common point of transmission of the virus, the research highlights the need during the pandemic to rethink some of the common spaces people share, including public bathrooms. While the degree to which toilets contribute to transmission remains unknown, you can take precautions. When possible, close the lid before you flush and wear a mask in public or shared bathrooms. And to avoid, I think this study just adds a lot of evidence that everybody needs in order to take better action, and I think people should really be more careful in that you should always wear a mask, you should always social distance, and even in places where like public bathrooms you can get the virus. So I think this just really adds to the evidence that we need to take better action to protect ourselves and be aware of everything, almost everything, including toilets. So while trying to keep bathrooms sanitized all the time is virtually impossible, Still, it can also be helpful to take precautions as cities around the world navigate through reopenings of restaurants, offices, and other businesses. More people will also need to use public or shared bathrooms, so I think you can take these precautions. That's it. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.